Sure. Thanks, Ann. And this is great. Hope everyone's doing well. And I'm going to start with my screen and start sharing that. There you go. Let's see. Should be it. Okay. Can you see the
Perfect.
screen? Yep.
Yep.
Great. So we'll leave this up for a few minutes here. So false beliefs in today's leadership. Well, let me tell you this. If you could change these three false beliefs in leadership, you can have this shift. I will tell you that you can double or even triple your income. Now, I will back that up by the end of this. And at the end of this webinar, I have some free gifts for you. So please stay to the end. And I think you're going to enjoy them. So how many of you, and you could put a number in the chat, just put number one in the chat. How many of you truly love, love treating patients? You became a doctor because you love treating patients. Put a one in the chat. We're going to make this interactive. I don't always see this on the screen here, but just if you really love treating patients, we all became doctors because we love treating patients. So let me tell you a little about my story, my journey, and we're going to have some fun with this. When I was 3 years old, I was diagnosed with severe asthma. I actually almost died from it. I was rushed to Columbia Medical Center, Presbyterian Medical Center in New York City, where I'm from, in a taxi, and really late at night. Took me to the hospital, put into, at that time, an oxygen tank. And as my mother tells the story, because I was 3, as my mother tells the story, they didn't turn the oxygen tank on, so I almost died. But thankfully, I didn't die. I'm here. But I kept on suffering from asthma, and where, like in 5th grade, I missed 40 days of school. But every time I went to the doctor and got an adrenaline shot, because that's how they did that back then, I would feel so much better. I would be so happy, and I loved getting these injections. I actually watched the doctor inject my arm as a kid, and I just loved going to the doctor because he made me feel better. But, what happens is, that continued. I always wanted to be a doctor since I was 9 years old. And I got into podiatry school. And from there, my residency in New York, and did a year in Israel. And after that, I opened up my own practice. I never worked for anyone. I bought a practice at the age of 29 in 1989. And I remember the day when I first walked into the practice. There were patients in the waiting room. And there's this one guy in particular, and he asked me who I was. I said, I'm the new doctor in town. And he said, well, you're not the doctor I normally see, so I'm out of here. And that happened for a few patients. I couldn't keep patients. I did not know how to get new patients. And I was losing money every single month for on the average, about $8,000 a month. Now, at the time, remember, I owed $100,000 in student loans. I owed $100,000 in the purchase of the practice, and I took out another $100,000 in a credit line. So I was down $300,000 before I even saw my patient. Now I'm losing $8,000 a month for over the last 3 months. But lo and behold, I got a message from Gus, and Gus is God, universe, and spirit. I believe in God, and I got a message through God through a fax machine. And so that's me as a little boy. Okay. And then that's this lovely machine that I actually got this message. And the message said, learn how to run your medical practice in a 2-day event in New York City for $99. And said, well, I have nothing to lose and only hopefully something to gain. So I went to this 2-day seminar, and I got really excited, like a lot of these seminars do. They get you all pumped up. But I was 29 years old and naive, and I didn't realize that there's always that salesperson at the end of these kind of meetings. And I actually spent about 4 or 5 hours with the salesperson because he was convincing me to sign up for a year of coaching and business tools, business education. And it cost $18,000. And I actually then owed $300,000 and plus $8,000 I was losing. I maxed out 2 credit cards for a total of $18,000. I remember going back at home that night lying in my bed, looking at the ceiling and going, what did I just do? I was just like, wow. I mean, I just maxed out 2 credit cards for $18,000 and I didn't have that money. But this is the first lesson I want to teach you. I took a risk and so glad I took this risk. And the difference between good practices and great practices take risks. Not stupid risks, but they take risks. And there are two things I learned from taking that risk. Two outcomes that happen from that risk. One is in that 1 year of that coaching, I made more money that year than the previous owner of the practice did in any one of his 17 years of practice. It was amazing learning how to run your business, because they don't teach this in school. But the second thing, which I think is as important as making money and being successful that way, was that I learned to love running my practice as much as treating patients. Now, how many of you can actually say that you love the business side of running your practice? And most people, when I ask them, they don't. They love seeing their patients. They love some control that they have running a practice, but all the headaches we have today with insurances and HIPAA and EMRs and collecting money, asking patients for money, hoping patients pay you, all of that are just a bunch of headaches. But learning to love your practice, having that same passion is so important, as important as treating those patients. And as time went by, I continued to grow and continue to learn practice management and marketing. I became a certified leadership coach, and because I just loved it. And that love actually, what I fear is that doctors today don't have that love. Doctors are actually leaving their practices because they just can't take it anymore. And that's a shame, because we have so much to offer. We have so much to offer to our patients and to the public, that it's a shame that they don't have great doctors like you helping them. So that's what I want to teach you tonight, actually how to fall in love with your practice. And if you can make these 3 shifts, it will make a huge difference in your life as well as your bottom line, and you can have what you want. And so let's just talk about these 3 shifts. The first false belief is control. You want to control the outcome. You want to control everything in your practice. When I say you, not everyone on this call, but in general, people own their practices because now you can take control of the result. If things go right, hopefully it's because of you. If things go wrong, it's because of you. And as that man on the right, Vince Lombardi, says, if the team wins, it's because of the team. And the team loses, it's because of the coach. So what kind of life do you want to have? You want to have the winning atmosphere and a great team and great people around you, or do you want to have the stress? Okay. And you don't want to have that stress. So when we control things and try to control outcomes, we are actually controlling people. We are micromanaging people, and people don't like to be micromanaged. The common question I get all the time is that, why can't my staff know what to do? Or how come they don't listen to me, or anything like that? Because when they take initiative, if they take initiative and they don't do things right the way you want them to do it, and you let them know, or you just take over the job, they no longer will take initiative. They'll be in fear of making mistakes. And as doctors, we have this problem of being in control, because think about it. We're all surgeons on this call, and being a surgeon, we tend to be perfectionists. You have to have you can't say at the end of a surgery, good enough. It's good enough. No, we want it to be really good and be the best we can. And for some reason, we try to then do that to our team. And remember, at the time back in 1989, I couldn't keep an employee to save my life. But they're making, at that time, maybe $10 an hour. Now, they're making $20 an hour, still at $20, $22 an hour. They could just go to the hospital next door and get better benefits, get paid better, get more vacation pay. So it's really important to take care of the team. And so if we know that great leaders have to delegate and give up some control, why don't we take the time to empower the team? So here are the reasons why. Okay. So the first reason is because you feel you can do it faster. True. Okay. I bet you that that's the case, and it's true. But the problem is you spend most of the day seeing patient after patient, and you could do it fast if that's all you were able to do, but that's not the case. So what happens when you say I could do it faster or I could do it better, which is one of the other reasons why you don't delegate, but what happens when you do that, you just don't get it done because you don't have time to do it. And these are important things that you need to get done. And the second reason is like you don't have confidence in other people. You don't have confidence in your staff. When you don't have confidence in your staff, they know it. And they, like I said, they don't take initiative. They don't take charge. They're not in charge. They're not becoming a leader. What a leader does is develop other leaders around them. The third reason is I'm better than you. I have that mindset that I can do it better than you. And again, most of the time, sure. But there are things that need to be done that you don't like to do. Matter of fact, you're not really good at it either. It could be a lot of things in your office. It could be spreadsheets, P&Ls. It could be marketing. It could be, just calling up patients and making sure to pick up their orthotics or their diabetic shoes, what have you. You can't do it better. You hire the team to do it for you. Sometimes you have a task and you love doing it yourself. And for example, some people I know love writing blogs. They love actually shooting videos or whatever it is, but it still doesn't get done because they don't have time to do it. So even though you love doing it, it's still sometimes better to delegate those tasks because then it gets done consistently. And the ability to find someone else to empower. You don't have a team that you can trust, like I said before, but you can't find someone that will step up to the plate. And that starts off with the hiring process. When you're hiring someone, you're thinking about the future. We tend to think about today. Like, can they fill the job today because Mary just left? Mary, my front desk person, just left. I need someone today. But it's a relationship. You want them to be a long-term we want to have a long-term relationship with this person and have them be with you for a long time. So you need to develop these people. Okay, and the last reason is reluctance to empower or delegate to someone because of past failures. You have done it before, and every time you've done it, things are not done the way you want to do it. Now, when it comes to where you treat patients and writing out prescriptions, not even your notes, but when you're doing a lot of things like that, you want them to be right spot on. But some of these tasks that your staff are doing, they don't have to be like perfect. They have to be good enough to get the job done. Like I said, like in marketing, you have to want to send out an email blast to somebody, as long as it's written well and you could check that if someone check it. Don't go crazy about being perfect all the time. And having faith in people, okay? Having faith in people, when you have faith in them and you believe in them, and if you ask them, like, what do they think? Should we solve this problem? We're not getting enough new patients. What do you think? How come the patients are not coming back? What do you think? Asking them, and then they give you the answers, and you follow through these answers. Now you're having faith in them. You're showing that you're having faith with them, not just saying you do. And then that person will step up to the plate. That person will take a little more initiative and be the employee that you want them to be. Okay. So that leads us to doctors really means being teachers. It means being a great coach. And I look at my office like a sporting event, like I'm the coach and we have the team. I set the plays, which is our morning huddle. We go over the schedule in the morning, go over each, like each patient, what they're coming in for. And when we do that, the staff is more prepared. So that's our coaching event. That's when I tell them what needs to be done for each patient. And that's the morning of huddle to get ready for the day. And a coach also is someone that helps train people. But after a while, depending on the size of your office, so at the beginning, I had to do the training. But when you have key people, a key front desk person, a key medical assistant, a key person in the billing department, if you do in-house billing, you have those key people around you. Those key people, without giving them titles, are the ones who will train the next front desk person, the next medical assistant, and the next billing person. So you never have to do that again. Anytime you do something you don't want to do again, write it down, figure out how to get this done, put your systems in place, and teach everyone around you how to do the job properly. And then they teach the next person. That keeps on continuing down the line. You'll never have to do that. But you have to be a coach for your team. Okay. So today's leader is a coach who leads, but are not managers. Okay. So, and I write, even managers should not be managers. They need to be coaches. So what does that mean? Managers, I hate the term because managers manage people. My administrator was the practice administrative leader, not a manager, but a practice administrative leader. And their job is to coach and teach. Think about it, you're a teacher, how they should do the job. And the best way to do that is have your systems, like I said, written down. So they have a manual, a job description that's written out completely. Like not like, okay, you save a tray for a P&A, a picture of the tray, the names of the instruments on the tray, and teach them and take the time, because when you take the time to do that, you are now saving time. We're talking about how to become more profitable. You then need to spend more time doing what you do so well, and that is taking care of your patients. And then educating your patients what they need, giving them the services they need, no matter if it's covered or not. That's the key. You're giving them the services that they need, if it's covered or not. But if you have to rush through your treatment plan because everybody's not running on the same page, then guess what? You're rushing through your whole presentation with the patient. And then you're not going to be able to sell your services the way you should be able to sell. Okay. Great leaders are great listeners. We tend to talk too much and we don't listen to our team. And so we don't have meetings with them. They ask you questions while you're in the middle of seeing patients. We then snap at them sometimes, or then we're just not even listening to them because we're busy doing what we're doing. But they're telling you something that you need to hear. And then it actually bites you in the end because you didn't listen. Now you have to repeat the whole thing. Even with our patients, if we're not listening, you're going to ask the same question over and over again. They're going to go through the whole story again and again. So take the time to listen to your people. You have to hire properly, right? And then when you hire them, the mistake is, the staff doesn't really do a good job. They're not the people we want. It's because they're not trained properly. If you hire the right people who have ambition, you can't teach that. You can't teach loyalty. You can't teach personality, and you can't teach someone who has ambition and passion to their job role. But when you hire those kind of people, it behooves you to train them properly, no matter how long it takes to train them, and then to retrain them. Retraining means that just because they know, you've seen this, they get trained, they've been doing the job real well for months and months, maybe years. Then one day something snaps and something's just changed. It's because they changed the system without telling you, but not on purpose. This is what they're doing, what they feel they need to do at that moment. So they need to be retrained. Disney does it all the time. Disney trains and retrains all their team members, all their characters every single month. So they're so on point. If it's good enough for Disney, it's good enough for me. You have to nurture your team. And there's the story of the bamboo tree. The bamboo tree, you basically plant the seeds every single day. You plant the seeds, you water it, you fertilize it every single day, year after year, nothing happens. 4 years go by, nothing happens. At the 5th year, nothing happens. But a couple months after 5 years, that bamboo tree is from nothing, just barely past the surface of the ground, becomes 90 feet tall in a couple of months. It's because they were nurtured. The bamboo tree is nurtured. And that's what you have to do with your team. Do you know your teams? Do you know their last names and their first names? I'm not kidding you. I know some doc who didn't know their names because they didn't write their payroll checks anymore because it was electronic. They didn't know their last names. Do you know about their family? Do you know how many children they have? If they have children, are they married? I'm not saying get personal with them, but what I'm saying is, do you truly know your team? Okay. And by nurturing them and caring about them means more than anything. If you hire someone and you know from the beginning that your front desk person has to leave at 3 o'clock to pick up their son at the school bus, but she says it just takes me 15 minutes. I'll come right back after I drop him off at the house where grandma is there, whatever. Those are little perks you can give your team because it shows you care about them and you have values about family. Mission, your values are so important. Write down the office's values and live by these values that you care about family. So show that. And these are little perks that if you give them, they'll stay with you and not go to those big hospitals who would not allow for something like that. So allow for certain things like that. I'm not saying, they should take advantage of you, but little things like that are important. And these are for people who are actually loyal to you and you're loyal to them. Take the time to nurture them. So the second false belief. Okay. I can't see any comments in here, so I don't know if there are any here, but we can do that at the end. Okay. Time. I don't have enough time to do this. I don't have enough time we always say this, no matter what, in life, in personal life, you don't have enough time. It's an excuse. Time is really an excuse of something that you really don't want done. You will find time to do something if you really want it or really love to do something. So if I offered you, I don't know the crowd we have here, but if I just said, I have 2 tickets to Taylor Swift and you're a big Swiftie, you would get off this webinar right now and go. You will make the time to do the things you love to do. And time happens lack of time happens because of the first false belief. You control everything and don't delegate. You'll have more time when you can start delegating. Okay. So what happens what you should do every single week is plan your week and figure out the 1 or 2, 3 things you need to get done that day and that week that will make everything better. And the bottom line is there's one thing that you can do every day that will knock down all the other dominoes. That one thing will make everything else better by focusing on that one thing. How do you figure out that one thing? Well, what I do is what I teach when I coach doctors. And by the way, I didn't tell you the rest of my story that I sold my practice a couple of years ago to private equity. I was, like I said, gross multiple 7 figures for 30 consecutive years. And then I sold it for multiple 7 figures. I then worked for them for 1.5 years. I retired in January because I love this. I love teaching you. I love giving back. And I could help a lot more doctors who would stay in their field, who would then help a lot more patients. And I learned all this by having a coach. I learned this by reading books after books, book after book. And so I love doing this. And so one of the things I teach is systems and key performance indicators. Knowing your key performance indicators and have every week certain metrics on a graph and looking at certain graphs will tell me, I can tell you from analyzing about 4, 5, or 6 graphs, the one thing you need to focus on this week that will make the whole week amazing. And that's what you have to find out, that one thing that will make the rest of these dominoes fall down. Great leaders and people have more time are great planners. Now I have right over here my full focus planner. I used the Franklin Covey planner for years. It switched to a full focus. That's a Michael Hyatt planner because it's not just a planner that tells me I have to do this. It's not a checklist. I do A, I have to do B, I have to do C. every quarter I review my goals. What do I want to accomplish this quarter, this year as well? Am I on track to reach these goals? I write them down. I write down why I want these goals, what's going to happen when I achieve these goals, how I'm going to reward myself, and why these goals are so important to achieve. And then I work my days based on those goals. Of course, you have your patient schedule, but while I was seeing patients, a full active doctor, I wrote a book, and that I made sure I wrote 500 pages every single night for 10 months, and I got my book done. So not 500 pages, sorry, 500 words every single night for 10 months. And I got the book done, but I had to put it in my plan to like when I'm going to be doing this and make sure I don't go to bed before finishing those 500 words. So planning what's important to you, putting in all your major events first, your family events, date night, all the things, going to the gym, eating right, all those kind of things are so important, because when you don't have energy, and that's where we are, we're a ball of energy. When you don't have energy because you're tired and you work so hard, you come into the practice like moping, like depressed, tired, and you can't handle any little situation that's out of the norm. And you just get cranky. And that crankiness, for lack of a better word, shows up in the treatment room. And then that patient's not happy and might not tell you, and then doesn't refer any other patients, doesn't keep the next appointment. And when you are on, when you're on, when you're selling your lasers, the great Remy laser, and I love my Remy laser. When you sell these laser packages, you have to be on. You're a show person, where you put on a show in front of an audience here, and that's that patient. And they buy from enthusiastic people who they trust. And if you want to know, ask any successful person, what's the key of being successful in business? You have to have passion for what you do. You have to be hungry and have passion. And then you have to be obsessed. Not obsessed where it gets you ill, but obsessed like, I love this so much. I can't wait to do more of it. I can't wait to grow it more. Whatever you want. Just obsessed with running that practice as much as obsessed with learning the new MIS techniques or whatever. It's equally obsessed. Those are successful people. And you can't be obsessed when you're tired and you're not eating right and you have too many like carbs in your body and you're eating sugar and all that kind of stuff. You're not drinking enough water. So those are things you plan first. The things that are going to make you a better version of you, then you could help your team. You could be there for your team, which will then be there for your patients. Okay. And the third false belief, that is, I don't need any help. Okay. Let me just go back here. There you go. It's what you learn after you know it all that counts. John Maxwell, I became certified leadership coach with the John Maxwell team. You don't need anyone's advice. After 3 months, now people told me it takes 3 years to become profitable in the business way back in 1989. And I said, I don't have 3 years. I didn't even know if I was going to make it past a year having all that debt. So I needed that pressure of having that debt of $300,000 plus. And that pressure allowed me to make a diamond. And that's how you make a diamond, through pressure. I'm not telling you to get sick over it, and no, but it allowed me to take action into finding help and knowing that I don't have the answers. Well, my father might have known the answers. My father was I became a vice president of his business of a business in New York City in the garment center, and let me tell you this story. It's a really good story about not being able to keep an employee and how we learn to lead. We learn to lead by watching the people around us. So I love my father dearly. I thought he was like amazing. He went from when he was a little boy to stapling fabric to pieces of paper to becoming vice president, part owner of the company. And where he was a textile converter. And one of his clients is Louis Vuitton. And so he took raw material, sent it out, and they dyed it. And then he took that material and sent it to Louis, which made those handbags, as you know. Remember, I had the very first Louis Vuitton handbag way back when. But I'm telling you this because it's a very stressful situation. Now, a 9-year-old boy, myself, walks into the office. It's a huge office, loads of tables, everybody's smoking like a fiend, and you can't even see my father in the back of the room because it's full of smoke, and I have to like push the smoke away to see him. But my father's on the phone. He's like cursing people out. Where's my effing order? Where's this? Where's that? I don't give a beep, bleep, whatever. He doesn't care, right? But I'm like, my father's so cool. He's like the boss, right? And you don't know at 9 years old what's going to stick in your brain. Now, so when I had a team and I started, owning my own practice, I didn't curse at them, but I did make funny faces like, might as well have said, I said out loud, well, you stupid. I can't believe you're thinking like that. And after losing employee after employee, I'm like, well, not everyone is lazy. We always believe our staff is lazy. They just can't. They just have no initiative. And that was back in '89. We were saying this. And now we're also saying it today in 2024. Oh, no one really wants to work anymore. Everyone wants to work from home. That's not true. There are people who actually do want to work, and there are great people out there. You just have to really look for them. So one day I just looked in the mirror and said, I guess the problem's me. And I started just reading book after book after book on how to be a better boss. And because I always found reading is cheaper than therapy. So, and that's what I did. And that's why I started learning to be the best leader I could be, because that one thing was costing me a lot of money. Losing staff costs you money. I think it's like almost $100,000 a year every time you have to turn over a staff, is a fact that I read. It's costing you money. You never get ahead because you're then always doing a job that you shouldn't be doing when you have these great grandeur visions of having a different kind of practice, putting in like maybe a direct care practice or having MIS in your practice or something, but something stops you every single time because a key staff member leaves. Okay. So, but that's why you need help sometimes, have advice. And the great thing about having people around you that can help you, this man right here, Napoleon Hill, is wrote the book called Think and Grow Rich. And in chapter 2, he talks about the mastermind principle, where 2 or more people actively engage in the pursuit of a definite purpose with a positive mental attitude constitute an unbeatable force. The first mastermind consisted of people like Thomas Edison, Benjamin Franklin. You had Dale Carnegie. I had an amazing Winston Churchill might have been in there. So a lot of great people in that mastermind. Imagine having people who have similar beliefs with you and helping you achieve your problems. Solving the light bulb problem, helping Thomas Edison solve the light bulb problem. Wouldn't that be great, having other people's opinions and having other people's opinions from a different frame of mind, different place that they're coming from, and because we all think differently. So it's great to have a group of people like that. And that's what a coaching group does, to get people together to help one another. This was my team 1 year, and in the middle there is Dr. Brad Schaefer, who worked for me for 8 years and was the My Feet Are Killing Me guy. So it was just a great team, and I loved it, loved every bit of it. Okay. And I want to share this with you. I want to thank you so much. That my gift to you, and you could take a picture of this QR code or go to practicebundle.com. You'll get an editable org chart, and that is an organization chart where you list all your team and everything they should be doing. So anytime you said something's out of order, you look at your org chart and you'll know exactly what's out of order, what you need to be done, and who should be able to do it. And if you don't have that team, that person, then you go find someone who can do that. The 25 money leaks checklist. Every office here is leaking money, and this will help you prevent that. And then gift for me to you, a complimentary 30-minute coaching call where I'll find you $25,000 that your practice is leaking right now. So before I end the presentation, I want to say that how you can double and triple your profits is basically you have to become a better leader. it's the common denominator. People have staff issues left and right. Become the best leader you can. Go ahead and read many books on leadership as much as you can. Gobble that up like it's like you have a test tomorrow in anatomy. That's really, really important. Learn how to delegate and trust your team, okay, and learn how to manage your time and develop more energy in your life. And you know what? I'm gonna leave you with this little quote. The more I play, the more I get paid. Enjoy the journey. Have fun with everything you're doing. It's not the end of the world. Smile, enjoy it. Yeah, I know I'm retired, but I will tell you, I have in my protocols, it always says smile. So for me to smile, my team to smile, because we need to have fun. No matter what's going on in your life, you need to have fun, because when you're not having fun, no one buys from people who are not having fun. Okay. I'll stop sharing that. Thank you so much.
I love it. We haven't had any questions typed into the Q&A box yet, but as you were talking, I was thinking about time management and things like that. And I have this conversation with business owners all the time, and it always ends in, yeah, I'll get to that as soon as I get through this, as soon as I get through this implementation, as soon as I get through this marketing campaign, as soon as I get through this new hiring process, then I'll get to that. But the trouble is, there's always another this on the other side of that one. So,
Right.
how would you help somebody fit time in for these leadership things, training other people and stuff like that? How would you fit time into your schedule?
Right. So I'll tell you a story that when I was it was an AAPPM meeting, which I'm going to be speaking this week there, leaving on Thursday. So at this meeting years ago, they were talking about DME. And if you graduated back when I did in 87, you treat plantar fasciitis, you give an injection, low dye strap, maybe an injection, but anti-inflammatories, you're done. But then you're learning like insurances are coming in and reducing the reimbursement rates. So then you have to capture that money back again. And we did that with DME. So my whole protocols changed. And I wrote down all these things I needed to get done. And then I learned so much, all these different marketing things. I'm going, and this is probably around the year 1999, 2000. And I said, now, if I can get all these things done, my practice would be crazy good. It'd be like patients will be calling left and right. I'll be so busy making so much money. And the answer to that was, again, taking a risk, like I mentioned before, by hiring a marketing person. It was a person out of school, and it was before like the internet. And we're just mailing things to people. We're just doing all these tasks. So one, again, ask yourself really good question. How can I get X done without me doing it and without it costing a lot of money? When you ask your subconscious mind a great question, it finds the answer for you. Maybe not right away, but sometimes when you just relax in the shower, it comes right to you because you keep on asking your brain this question. Please help me. It's like ChatGPT. Your subconscious mind is like ChatGPT, where it says, please find me how I can get this done, not me doing it cheaper. Now, and to go back to your question really as well, is that planning your days and your weeks. Like every Sunday night, I plan my week. And I said, this is what's important. Like you say, okay, I'm sick and tired. Here's the comment. It's coming home and I have to stay up to midnight every night, finishing up my charts. The big one. Everybody is saying it's taking so long to do my charts. So why are we so against hiring a scribe or a virtual assistant? I guess I'm going to tell you what's coming. It's here, not perfected. It's going to be perfected real soon. It's going to be AI scribe. AI scribe technology is coming left and right. There should be no excuse. You should be done at 5:15 out the door. Okay, unless you're going to do something else. But otherwise, with your notes done, and you solve. You say, today I'm going to put on my planner. I'm going to solve this problem between this time and that time. And the other answer when it comes to your business, from almost day one, I had a lot of Rainmaker days because I didn't have that many patients initially, but I had a Rainmaker day built into my schedule, meaning every Wednesday I didn't see any patients. I was not disturbed, and I worked from 9 to 5 and actually using the creative mind. Creativity is so important. You want to create and think outside the box how you can solve problems. When you go, oh my God, the reimbursement rate's so poor. I'm not going to be doing this procedure anymore. I'm not going to do this or that. I'm not going to see routine care patients anymore. You have to sit and relax in a private office and not talk to anyone and just think and create. That's where the money is. That one day will make you more money than the rest of the week. So you're not losing patients. You're becoming more efficient. You have meetings with your financial team or a building company. You have a marketing person, meet with the marketing person, or maybe that's you. But hire someone if you need some marketing done. It could be part-time. It doesn't have to be extravagant. So if you have to plan it.
I love that. It's perfect. We do have a question that rolled in. It says, during an interview process, should I offer to pay a medical assistant more money in the beginning, but respectfully lay expectations?
So I guess the question is, I like this person so much. I want to have this person. I don't want to lose that person to someone else. You need to have a budget. You need to know what your percentage of payroll is compared to your overhead. It's maybe okay to go like $1 or $2 more per hour if the person meets your qualifications. And just like when I found my fiance, okay, and I put down the top 10 qualities I wanted in a future wife, you need to know the top 10, I don't know, maybe 15 or 10 and 9, 8, whatever it is, the top qualities you must have, the non-negotiables you must have with your team person, whoever you're hiring for. And then make sure they meet that criteria. When you meet the criteria, an employee needs to earn 3 times their income. So what things can you do for that person that can generate more income? They're going to need raises, maybe not every year. It doesn't have to be every year. It's not the biggest thing. You could put a bonus system in. You can just give surprise gift cards when they do an excellent job and say, surprise, thank you, employee of the month. We'll give you a gift card. You can give them extra time off. It's not always what you need at the interview is find out what motivates that person. Is it money? Or what's the money for? Is it time? You want more time with your family? So you find other ways to get them excited to take your job. Hope that answers your question.
Perfect. I remember we sponsored or hosted a lecture one time about the love languages in the workplace. Like if someone benefits from acts of service or words of affirmation, all that kind of stuff. That leads into just what you were saying about find out what speaks to that person. So
correct. That's excellent.
Okay, so we know you're going to be at AAPPM this week in Fort Lauderdale. Are you speaking anywhere else in 2025? Any things that are on the horizon for you that we can look forward to?
Don't have anything on the books except for the top practices meeting in September of next year.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, so I'm there every single year and we work with Rem Jackson. But I'll be doing other talks as well. But I'll let you know as it comes, yeah.
And if anyone has any questions or wants to reach out to you directly, what's the best way for us to get a hold of you?
I guess easy is my email, drwishnie@gmail.com.
Okay, dr like doctor, Wishnie at gmail.com. If you guys have any questions or want to follow up, learn more about his coaching, then you can reach out to him directly. And I don't see any more questions or chats, so I think we've got everything covered. This has been recorded and it will be uploaded to our archive this week, hopefully. So if you missed any part of it, if you missed the beginning part of it, you can come back and watch it later. We do have some other webinars happening this month, so stay tuned for the news and registration link of those. And that's all I have. Dr. Wishnie, do you have anything else for us?
No, just thank you so much for inviting me in. Thanks to everyone. I love doing this, like I said, and really appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for joining us. Thank you, everyone, for spending your time with us, and we will see you next time. Good night, everyone.
Good night.